there. So what I'd like you to do is to just, I have this page open from the Marvel comics showing you this box drawing, but I'm just trying to have you illustrate a simple box with an isometric approach, and I'm doing it pretty light. And just kind of building this up, and I'm rotating the paper if I need to just to get the lines nice and straight. I'm using my hand. I'm not holding the pencil like this. I'm just kind of sketching it out a little bit. And the part of the isometric drawing is that the lines, instead of going to a vanishing point, they're parallel. So otherwise the vanishing point would be kind of tight on this piece. So I'm just trying to create a simple cube right there. Nothing too dramatic. And then shading it, going from one edge and just letting it shade that whole side there. Do the same on another side. It'll be darker as we start doing this, but I'm just kind of getting some simple tones in there. This part right here, the top piece, is just going to be light, but I'm just going to give it a little bit of a tone on the back. And the surface of this is letting the front corner be the part that's closest to us in focus with the highlight there. And then pick either side. I'm just going to go to the left side so that the light source is coming from one direction. And just go ahead and go up to the top and just see if you can kind of create this without the fine line yet. Save that for the last part, your detail. But a simple, basic shape there. Same as you go up at the top, you can darken that a little bit and just let it simply fade in there. You can tone the whole thing if you wish, so that the paper sometimes is the lightest part of your drawing. And now I can go back in with the dark values, and I'm kind of putting the point, the accent right at the top, letting that section kind of be the segment that now I'm using the pencil like you would writing. You can get a little more control, fine motor skill, but the other one is trying to loosen you up, so therefore the pencil holding in a more flat view like this, it's harder to control, but as you get used to it, you obviously get more sophisticated motor skill control on it. But again, this kind of blends it in, so it's trying to give that shadow. If you want, try to give it a cast shadow. And again, I'm just using parallel lines, so this direction coming across here. So it's just kind of giving you a simple segment. I'm going to go down and just put a highlight, and you can see that the pencil sharpens itself as you start to draw that way, so once you have enough lead exposed, it'll let you build that part out. If you feel more comfortable standing, because it does make you a little less, you can. Again, you got the drawing table next to you. If you can clear yourself a space, it'll help you. And then as you get into this part, I'm going to darken this up. And now I can start to emphasize any of my lines if I want to. I don't want to get too much, but the accent is closest on the base. And as it fades away, just kind of letting it lighten up there. So see if you can't just do a simple cube. Like I said, it is in to begin with. If you stand again, it makes it a little bit easier, but I'm just going to give myself a center line just to help it out and build right off of that, trying to create an ellipse. And as I go and sketch, rather than try to draw just one ellipse, this kind of helps me get the motion, my arms moving in that same direction, and then I can change over. Like I said, it builds it up nice and easy. Just to keep it simple as an isometric where all the angles are the same, I'm going to try to just repeat that same ellipse down here, and as I sketch this out, I'm putting a little more pressure in the foreground, so it's putting that line right in there, so it makes it pretty easy. If I keep the same light source, then I can just go ahead and shade this in, and again, the side of the pencil makes it very easy. And just if I do half of it, it's halfway shaded, but then as I start to add more detail on a simple illustration, see if you can't put that together there real quick. Sketching it in there. And again, it's trying to show you have the reflected light, same thing we've been talking about before as the base tone. Just kind of putting it in there, laying it in. The light of the paper is the light of the illustration. So up at the top, I want this foreground to be the edge, so at the back I'm just going to let that be a light tone And as it comes to the foreground, the front of it, just letting it fade away there. Now once I get it sketched in, then I can go in and start to heavy up, and then that's where I recommend where you change your pencil line. And again, it helps you with your drawing a little larger. Like I said, trying to get you guys out of your comfort zone. Stand up if you wish. Builds that piece up. And build this section up. So the more kind of the loose drawing, you sketch it out there. Go ahead and try it. And again, give yourself a shadow line. I'm just going to keep the lines going the same direction. So it's close to perspective. Isometric just has the equal angle. Still giving the idea of a two-point perspective drawing, just kind of a lot tighter. Parallel lines. And the shadows are usually darkest closer to the surface that it's reflecting off of. And builds that part up. So now you have a couple drawings there. Make this a little bigger. So with the shape of this bowl, it's much easier to illustrate a circular sphere. Find half of it, create the elliptical shape, and you have it pretty well laid out. Now the bottom part is a base of it, also has an elliptical shape, so you can draw that in there. And then once I get that set, I can just shade this kind of very much just like this sphere that we've done. I can go ahead and just simply round off the ellipse, just make sure it curves, doesn't go to a point, and find this outside edge. Once I get that, then I can do a little bit of the toning to get a little bit of the shade. But again, the line cleans it up real quickly, and depending on which way I have this shaded, I have both the inside as well as the exterior for it. And then if you could just go same with the ball. Now the laces are kind of suggested there on a tennis ball. So again, I'm just going to do the sphere, and all the shading is circular. There's no real straight lines in it as you go. Find the outside edge for it. And the tricky part on the way it's put together with the seams, you don't see the seams, but it shows you the shape. There's not a straight line in all of it. It's just an elliptical piece that goes around. So if you're familiar with that, or if you can simply just copy that one that's there, just to give you some practice to it. And just kind of give it a tone, give it a little reflected light, little base tone in there to help your drawing. And then as it gets to something more organic, as the apple still started off with a circular shape, put a couple in there to help you kind of really see the design of it. And you can tilt it and almost find the center where the stem would be coming out, and that's where it's going to give you a little bit of change in there. the stem does have the cylindrical shape to it, so you can play that in there. And again, just do the base. You can even cast a shadow from the stem right onto the apple itself. Okay. Then as it gets down to the umbrella, it's the same idea. It's a cylindrical shape for the stem of it or the handle, but the rest of it is all based off of the circular part. So depending on how you put that together, still giving it a round piece here, giving it the ellipse. It's very symmetrical and mathematical on the umbrella. And you have this file on your computer or desktop. So it's just like the bowl. I'm showing the inside of it just so I can see it. And this will give you the ribs here. And then once you have it, it's just kind of arbitrarily. These are all pretty organized geometrically, but you can place them in there as you go. Again, this cylinder piece with the umbrella. There you go. And the last one, as we start getting into the anatomy of things, is just a kind of a wooden representation of the head. But again, started off with a circular shape. Find the center. It has a little bit of a front and the side. Shows a little bit of a jaw line in the forehead. But again, keeping this drawing kind of loose at the start. You don't have to worry about trying to be super accurate until you lay the thing out. And then you can see what you're doing better. So again, once you have it out there, then you can start going in and finishing it up with some of these lines. And depending how you compose them on your page, you can make them fit together. I try to do them all. There's one page there.